guy?
Thank you.
Real quick, I really want to do this because... But anyway, so we're gonna cover the basics of caps today. Starting with carriers. Some of you will already know some of this stuff, but I'm gonna... Could a fax cap up my avatar, please? But so carriers, woohoo! Talk.
Bowling time.
So
Which one's your
carriers? It's the avatar. So yeah, carriers are basically the Dominixes of capital ships. I was going to say battleships, but that's more like judgments. They pretty much they're your run-of-the-mill capital. They have hello there. They can have 3 fighters. I can't show you the fighters on. Oh, I'm showing you the wrong fucking. Hold on. I'm a professional, guys. I am a professional live streamer. Don't mind me. I'll actually show the right screen. So, they can have 3 fighters. Either light fighters or 2 light fighters and support fighters. Support fighters are going to be linked in fleet in a minute. Well, light fighters and support fighters are going to be linked in fleet in a minute, aren't they, guys?
Yeah, give me a sec.
I will link those. So yeah, this is going to be the world's shittest capital trading op because I'm not bad. But so each different fighter, each race does a different damage type. They all basically do the same thing. The light fighters, they shoot, they fire torpedoes, and they might warp die. Yeah, okay, drive. But each different race does a different damage type, so... Excuse the cough, I'm getting over being ill. So, for instance, Dragonfly's got blaster cannons, Einherji's got autocannons, Furblong's got blaster cannons as well. And the Templars have pulse cannons. It's basically different damage types, you know, autocannons, blasters, and lasers. Each fighter will do a different damage type. So the fighters that you generally use in Delve are the Amarr ones. They do EM damage. Any questions about light fighters before? They're really run of the mill. You press button, they shoot. You press button, they a torpedo will go quicker. Sweet, we're going.
So light fighters application is just for battleships and cruisers, right?
Oh no, you can use them on anything. So with a carrier, they are your main damage. So if you're in a carrier fleet and the FC says low damage fighters, that's the fighters they want.
So that's your standard.
Yeah, they're your standard go-to. I'm gonna kill your face in a carrier fight.
Okay.
The next load of fighters we're going to cover. My dude, that's what's this one. Go to MTACO, then jump to the Sino. The next load of fighters we're going to cover are support fighters. Now, these do different things. They all have a prop mod, either an afterburner or a micro warp drive, but they do different things. So, Sirens are tackle fighters. They will warp disrupt people. Have any on me to show, but they do. The Scarabs will jam don't generally see these ones being used. It's normally Drommies and Sirens you see used. But they will jam shit. They have a micro warp drive, unlike the Sirens. And yeah, basically, they jam. That's the run of the mill thing. There's not to say about them other than, oh look, they jam. And they jam on all of the different types of jams as well. They're just uniform. Drommies are webs. These are like the thing you'll get heard called for the most, especially if hostiles are using hacks or something. Or something fast in general. You web them down, you kill them, woohoo, win. That just says micro warp driving a web. Yeah, that's say about a Drommie and the Cenobite newts, but they're not really used. That isn't that good. Better to web something and kill it than. Also, the strength of their E-War, so things like well, not the Sirens, because your point, but the Scarab, the Drommie, and the Cenobite, depending on how many fighters you have in the flight, depends on how strong it is. That makes sense. Same with light fighters, actually. If you've only got half a flight, you're only doing half the damage. You just... Oh, you're firing missiles at me. Okay, don't kill me, guy.
Oops.
So yeah, if you have half a flight, you're doing half the damage, for instance. But Faxes wraps on Dave. It's really all to say about the support fighters, though. Talk about like shoot or they. I suggest you have a play about with them because they act differently.
Could mention about the scram ability, about their special ability.
Question before you undock.
Oh, sorry, SSD.
From the current structure to the other structure in the system, in MO.
Green.
I need to pick up my fuel. There's none in this station. I have to go to the next one.
There should be some in the Keepstar.
0. Hydrogen isotope.
Yeah, it's in the Citoyo. There's nothing in the keep, it's in the Citoyo.
Yeah, if you're in a ship that can dock in the Citio, warp over to the Citio.
Which the hell can't do. Okay. I'll figure it out.
Anyway,
Just
the next
swap to
bit
an industrial ship.
Yeah, the next bit that my stream would have just a guy going on about is the anti-fighter fighters, so the space superiority fighters. These are the final load of fighters that a carrier can have. And much like their light fighter counterparts, they all do a different type of damage. But these are designed to kill fighters and highly effective against harpies, as we found out during the Hell War, and small ships. So if you got a gang of frigates attacking you, use these. They will. But the gist of these, and I should be able to show you over on my other ship. But these have 12 fighters per flight, whereas normal lights have 9. Thank you, Guy. My mind went blank. And support fighters have 3. The main thing about this is they have an ability that can scram other fighters. So you activate it and it will scram them. They also have an ability that increases their defense. So they're like increases their resistances, and increases their speed. So that's like their prop mod. But increases all their resistances by 50%. Or their will pretty much stop fighters in their tracks. And they got micro missile swarms that, as I said, they will rip the shit out of fighters and anything small. So if AFC says to load SS fighters, you load these. The main ones we use are the Equites and the Grams. But they all pretty much do the same thing, except, as I said before, each does a different damage. Any questions on light fighters?
Lockward mentioned being able to detach the fighters from your modules.
Or the entire, like the stream can hear you, so local is.
Yeah.
Guy just raised a good point. For those that don't know, you can, if you everybody look at my stream and I'll demonstrate it. You can detach the fighters from your main deck. So when you first get in a carrier, it will look like this, where you've got your normal modules and you've got a little button down here to click and it shows fighters. Click this tiny button at the bottom. Yes, I'll cover oracles in a minute actually. You can then drag the fighters away. Yeah, it's this little button at the bottom if you look. If you're not and you're about to from that link, just
If you click on the blue thing that says detach fighters in fleet chat, it will show you exactly where it is
I forgot about this.
if you're in a carrier.
So my advice is, well, what I do is I move my capacitor to the side a bit, and I have my fighters to the left of it. Just so you can see your modules and your fighters. Now, for those that are brand new to carriers, I said for some of you this is going to be just like teaching you. I'm not. Did I really click log off? I want to say. So what you want to do when you first get in a carrier is you want to go to your settings and then go to shortcuts. And the main shortcuts I suggest having are launch all fighters, recall all fighters, and select all fighters. The others if you like, but those are the main ones you want. So launch all fighters and recall all fighters is kind of exactly what it says on the tin. It will launch them, it will bring them back. Select all will just select the fighters, which I'll demonstrate when I go over to my super because I can. But those shortcuts are very, very important. If you're here in a carrier or super and you want to play about with fighters and you maybe haven't before, just. Yeah, I'm going to cover the whole commands go into your ship and go into your fighters in a moment.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. I would normally cover it now, but I forgot. I didn't put fighters in this when I bought it. Like literally the second before we jumped. So.
Okay.
Other things to note about carriers. Well, capitals in general. There is one particular module. Typical, I don't have any on. It's like an assault damage control for capital ship. It's the emergency hull energizer. Now, we don't really fit them that much. But basically what it does is when you go into hull, you hit that and you're invulnerable. For X amount of time.
It's a bit like
You
Rockall
fit
Panic.
20 capital ship. Kind of. Oracles can fit them as well. It's an assault damage control, essentially.
I like
It
to
will...
definitely.
Yeah, it will pretty much make your hull invulnerable for X amount. Generally use it for dreadnoughts when you're dread bombing someone, because then you can hit it, overheat your guns, and get a few more cycles off before you die.
It is also a way to survive a Titan DD as a dread.
Yeah. Well, it and having an immense amount of tank. But it puts your whole resistances to 95% across the board, so it pretty much makes you invulnerable. I can't remember if this one burn. I haven't used it in so long. It doesn't burn out afterwards.
Want me to test?
Yeah, if you got one fitted.
It does burn out after one
There you
use.
go, it does. Yeah, I haven't used one of those in bloody years. Yeah, they're single use. But that's generally, say you're doing a dread bomb and you're going down. Hit it when you're in hull and hope that you can kill the dude before you die. Or if you see a load of Titans locking you up, hit it when they're about to fire their Doomsday. And you will have a lot of very unhappy Titan pilots. Alrighty. Another thing to note about carriers and supers is this module here, the network sensor array. You should pretty much always have it set to auto repeat off. It is essentially a SIBO for your carrier, but it will drain the ever-living shit out of your cap and will stop you from warping. 9 times out of 10, when people can't warp off in a cap fleet, it's because that's on still.
It also stops you from jumping.
Yeah, it basically holds you in place. But if you're trying to lock something small, like some fighters, turn it on, you and near enough instantly lock. Boom, locked. It's useful. So, thing to note about capitals is they all have different jump ranges. This is like carriers and general capital information. So, carriers, dreads, faxes, they all go 7 light years. Supers and Titans go 6. This is with JDC 5 if you're using it without G. And a Oracle can go 10. And they all use different types of fuel. Please remember that. Don't try and use like hydrogen in a starship. I've seen kind of funny when they go, I can't jump. And the factions use the fuel of the ship they look like. Last thing to note on carriers. Actually, last 2 things. First of all, carriers can boost, so can faxes. And they are actually bonused for different types of boosts. Give me a sec. So, for instance, the Archon can do armor and info, Chimera shield and info, Nidhogg shield and skirmish, Thanatos armor and skirmish. It's basically what their race's command ships can. So if you're boosting, know what boost to put on. You can see that by showing info on your ship. Yeah, as said in my stream, JDC 5 is important. We'll be expected to have it no matter what. Somebody was about to say something.
For the boosts, will the FC typically say who should be doing the boosts? Because, like...
The cap fleet, it's assumed that all the Archons have boosts, essentially.
Okay, all the Archons, and then same thing with all the
like
faxes.
Generally you do. So, back in the day when you had a shield cap fleet and an armor cap fleet, the Thanatos is the damage dealer and the Archon is the tanky boy. The Chimera is the tanky boy, the Nidhogg is the damage dealer. You see what I mean? One's utility and support, one's damage. Now that we only have armor, generally the Archons have armor boosts. That is the most important bit. So if you could boost, put it on. It will keep you alive, it will keep your buddies alive. The FC will normally have boosts, so if I'm FC in a carrier fleet, my Archon has boosts.
And then what about for faxes? Because I know that FITs require faxes to have the boost modules.
Yeah, so yeah, again, it's if you got room, do it. But the FC will ask for boosts to be linked in fleet. It's not like a normal fleet where you have the boost channel and stuff. Generally, you just link it in fleet. So before, but normally it's back of the FC's mind a little bit. But say before a jump link boost in fleet. Generally, it's the tank ones you want and the info ones. Skirmish isn't as important because, let's be honest, if you're trying to go quick in a cap fleet, fast cats, it's a whole different. Anyone here not know what jump cap is? XL.
Are you talking about the capacitor?
Also not 74%. It's the point at which your cap can jump. With correct skills, it's 71%.
Does that mean at what level your capacitor has to be at? Otherwise, you can't jump. So if it's like you've only got 10% capacitor left, you can't jump.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So if the FC says get to jump cap, which is generally what you should do the second after you've jumped. So like when we jumped in here, I asked for my avatar to be capped up. Mainly because I wanted to doomsday somebody, but that's a good example of yeah, so it's roughly 71%. But as was said, 74 is a good ballpark to go for just in case your skills are a bit crap. But that is what the FC will mean when he says get to jump cap. Get your cap up. If you're in a Titan, be mindful of the fact that when you doomsday, it eats your cap. Yeah, make sure your jump drive operation is I think you need it at 5 for jump. Okay, this is the final thing on capitals. On carriers is fight support units is a unique thing for carriers and the Komodo. It's basically like fancy DDAs. They have diminishing returns. So this is mainly for your crabbing. Don't have 5 fighter support units on your or on your super, because that like 4th and 5th one ain't doing shit. But basically, it increases their E and their by increasing the rate of fire. Okay, any questions on carriers? Hold your pieces. Let me. Sweet. Okay. We're gonna go on to supers now, mainly because it ties in nicely. So. Switch to my other character. So supers, they're basically carriers on steroids. I've already gone over light fighters. So supers have 2 more types of fighters that you can have. You've got the anti-capital fighters. These are basically light fighters on steroids. And therefore destroying the capitals. So they are literally, essentially exactly the same as light fighters, except they're for attacking capitals. So if I launch these 2 now, I'll launch 1. So let's choose this lift. I must aim up lift. How are you? So if I attack this lift with my light fighters, I ain't really doing anything to it. Now, this being a lift, I'm probably not going to do much to him with the anti. Now, if I attack him with these, I'm doing a considerable amount more if you look at my damage here, though, and that's basically the difference. Therefore, attacking big things. You can attack battleships with them at a push. Definitely Macarials you can hit with those. Embarrassing. Does anybody have any heavy fighters? Anti-subcap heavies? Any other supers?
I have 3 flights of the Gungners or whatever.
Sweet. Okay. So these are, as I said, these are basically light fighters on steroids. There's nothing really different. They got. Now, the interesting thing when it comes to super fighters are anti-subcap fighters, which could you launch them for me? Do you know how to use the bombs?
I'm loading them. I do not.
Oh, learning time. Alrighty, so we're going to look over at these fighters over here. So, these Gunganiers here. Now, they have the same sort of guns like as before, except they fire further, so they've got artillery rather than autocannons, that sort of jazz. And a micro warp drive. No, micro jump drive even. These jump. So if like you would in a battleship, which is useful. Occasionally it's a pain in the ass. They're slow as fuck. So, on the topic of the bombs, give me 10 seconds to approach this fact so I can demonstrate with the time. Are you really still shooting me? Right, so the bombs. When you press button, actually I can show my burst projector. We're good. But I'm going to have you fire the bombs. So are you looking at my stream, my dude with the heavy fires?
Yes.
Sweet. So the way the bombs work is when you go to fire them, you get this, you see this red thing on my stream?
Yes.
Like red circle. So you get this. So this will work a little bit differently. So say the fighters were orbiting me, right? You got to think from the position of the fighters. And I wanted to bomb Guy's Leviathan, because fuck Guy. So what I would normally do is I'll click on it so I get this line that leads down to the tactical overlay. When you're using a capital, have the tactical overlay on. It's this button down here. It's what gives you these distance markings, and it's a lifesaver. So I would set it at an angle where I can see that dot there and the line going up, right? So several of the Doomsdays and the bombs on the fighters work exactly like this. What I do personally is you've got this. This is the distance. So I'm using my burst projector, which we'll cover in a minute, but this is the distance that you want them to go. Or the point on this axis where you want them to be. So I will click there, and then it will change to an angle. Now this is the vertical axis where you want the bombs to be, yeah? So I will go up and I will click again. Now I've fired my burst projector. If you do that with the fighters using their their F3, they will fire bombs. So if you want to give that a shot, if any of the supers have the long-range fighters, it's basically click, click, try and bomb the Leviathan. The fighters should move into position to where they can move and launch their bombs and fire. Gonna give that a shot. That's the gist of the thing. It's like yeah, that said mushroom. It's kind of like cube picking. It's like now the bombs from it, they're like mini versions of a bomber bomb. They won't do much as by themselves, but if you've got like 4 squads of them, they're enough to wipe out a couple. Or back in the days of Havenmetting, an entire wave. And yeah, they all do different damage types. It's basically simples. Those ones, they attack from a further distance. They can attack from like 20 kilometers away. Or so. They will orbit higher as well, whereas the anti-capital ones will get right up in their face. So if I launch all my fighters, we've got some likes and anti-capitals here. Fuck this lift in particular. So if I click this, they will automatically go to their optimum, orbit the target. So on the controlling of fighters, what we were talking about earlier, so if I press my hotkey to select all fighters, there's blue rings around it. And you'll see there's a blue ring around my capacitor. You don't want that, because if I give an order to my fighters, so if I Q-click, there you go, I've told my fighters to go over there, but my super's going there as well. So you control-click on the capacitor, get rid of that. Now, whatever order you give, unless it's a warp order, the fighters will do so. So from that moment on, your carrier or your super is basically a rock in space, and you're paying attention to your fighters. The job of the command... Well, if you're in a big fleet, it's the job of the command team to pay attention to what's going on top of the fleet. But you're focused on killing shit. Any questions on controlling fighters or heavy fighters on super? Sweet. One thing to note, supers can no longer have support fighters, so they can't use the sirens, the grams. Yeah, you can set a keybind for each flight to select each flight. You can select one to select them all. You can select one to deselect your ship, I think. Yeah, bombing takes a bit of skill. You probably won't be asked to do bombing with fighters on Cap Fleet in this experienced. But it's fun as fuck, especially when you pull it off. So, the other thing a super's got that is different to a carrier, other than being huge, is this module here, which is a burst projector, which you saw me use earlier against. So, let's see if I have the other ones. So, there's several different types, which I think Guy's got links to those as well, haven't you?
Which ones?
Burst projectors.
No, they're the one thing I don't.
Is that in the side down? Right, hold on.
I got it.
So there's several different burst projectors. There's quite a few. If you look on my screen. So these basically do exactly what they say on the tin when you fire them. You will have seen these come out of Fortizars and out of supers occasionally. And they do all different things. Each super is bonused for a different burst projector. So I'm flying a Vendetta. It's bonus for the webification one. It literally gives the god of all webs. So yeah, the Vendetta will slow somebody to 82% this burst projector. So you fire 2 of them at a fleet and that fleet stops moving. Stacks. Then there's other ones. You got the Warp Disruption Burst Projector, which that's literally just a bubble. If anyone's got one of those and wants to fire it, go for it. Oh, there it is. Right on time. There you go, fires a bubble. Now, if you want to pin down a hostile cat fleet, for instance, 50 supers firing one of those things, that cat fleet ain't going nowhere. I've seen that happen, it's fucking hilarious. So you got an energy neutralization one. That's quite good. It will drain your cap. Several of you have probably been fighting Fortizars that's got one of those. It's quite fucking annoying when the person can aim. Stasis web. I've got that fit to my ship at the moment. Exactly what it does. It says on the tin. It will web anything it lands on. Warp disruptor, sensor damping, target illumination, weapon disruption, and ECM jammer. It's basically the E-War that you can get. They all do exactly what it says on the tin. Each super is bonus for a different one. And the way it works, now that mine's back, is, as I showed earlier, you got this ring, click, click, it will fire this little probe. There it goes. Can't really see the probe because it's inside the ship, but there it is. And after, I believe it's 10 seconds, poof, that ship's now webbed. And it's as easy as that. The aiming takes a bit, but as I said, if you use the tactical overview, click on the target that you want to, hit, you can see it very easily from here. That's where you want to click, and then you bring it up and you click on the ship. Sometimes it's a pain in the ass to get the right angle, but there we are. Any questions about burst projectors?
Mentioned they need fuel, Dave.
Oh, good shout. Yeah, they need heavy water. I legit forgot because I normally carry about 3,000 heavy water in my super. Burst projectors require heavy water to fire. As shown by me, then it's very easy to forget that fact. So always carry a couple of thousand heavy water around with you. I normally have like 1,000 in my fuel bay and then another 1,000 in my fleet hangar. I think that's all about burst projectors. If you're on Sissy at the moment, have a play. I see some you are. Yeah, the heavy water needs to be in the fuel bay. I think, like Strawn, it can be in... able to be in the main hangar. But better safe than sorry, put in the fuel bay. Yeah, that God have, please. Facts. Well, there you go, yeah. It can work from cargo. Yeah, it takes, I think it's about 200 or something, last time I checked. Buy those. Yeah, 250 units, so it's not that much, but always bring a lot, because if you're in a big fight and you want to bubble all the things. Important things to note, much like a Doomsday, when you have fired that, you cannot tether, cannot dock, can have a warp. I think you can jump. I've never tried to jump after firing because I've never needed to. It doesn't say disallow jump. So we're going to go with you can probably jump. I'm about to cover the tactical recliner actually. So, as was pointed out, a super can carry is a tactical recliner. I don't have one because, first of all, doing that in a Vendetta would be fucking nuts. But we've used it in the past. It basically allows you to... you take a drug, if you're in a subcap, you can respawn it at the super carrier, get a ship out of it, and off you go again. So it's a quick way to resupply fleet. The only downside is in tie-dye, you're still in the same system, you're still tie-dyed to all Hallenbach, and you also need a large supply of ships in that super. So, for instance, you die in a scimitar, you're most likely going to be coming back in a scythe, which is, you know, from an FC perspective, it's nice to get you back immediately, but it's a bit of a meh, because scythe, not a scimitar. Those are my thoughts on it for the person in my stream chat. I'd rather the person spend the extra 10 minutes to get in a scythe. They're not in tie-dye and you're in tie-dye, so...
You mean a scimitar, but we get the idea.
Yes, the T2 one. Can you tell I'm a bit frazzled today?
A bit.
Let me check my notes, because I haven't done this in ages, so I need to make sure I'm not missing anything. Much the same with the carriers. Supers can boost too. Generally, it's the Wyverns and the Aeons that boost, because they are boys, whereas the Hal and the Nyx are the damage boys. It's the general. But they all have different bonuses, so you can see here, for instance, I've got a bonus to the Web Burst Projector here, and a bonus to... Super doesn't have. There's a bonus to the Area of Effect. Also, capital thing to note: capitals can Entosis, but it takes 5 times the amount of time. Good and bad. Any questions? I think people want to point out I've missed on supers. One important thing, which I don't think I've got in here, no I don't, always have a nester. In a super capital and a titan, super carrier and titan have a nester. Then you can poop it out and refit. It's a lot easier than a mobile depot.
This is probably a stupid question. Can you jump while scrammed in a cap?
Depends
No, but
on
you can
the
walk.
cap. Well, yeah, if you're scrammed in a super, just warp off. Laugh at them and warp off. You need something like 40 points. Something stupid. 20 to 40.
Or a single hit. Or a single hit point.
But fuck it. If it's just a normal scram and you're in a super carrier or titan, laugh at the dude and warp off. The amount of times I used to see in like JU standing where somebody be like, I'm scrammed in a super, by what? A malediction. Warp off then.
Bubbles are your detriment.
Bubbles and Hicks. Or 100 interceptors. Like. Any other questions? Oh,
See,
normal
Nesta.
capitals you can't. If you're scrammed, you're fucked. Same with disrupted.
So your Nesta doesn't need to be piloted; it can just be in space.
I don't have one to show, but I saw Apophis up there, dude. You literally just dump it out, you refit, you bring it back in. However, if you ever lock up someone's Nesta, you're going to have one very pissed off super capital pilot. I've literally threatened to doomsday people that have locked up.
And the Nestor can be unfit because nothing applies to it if it doesn't have a pilot in it.
Yeah, my Nestas don't have any fit whatsoever. It's literally there just as a mobile refitter. Any more? But any more?
And the Nesta works with nobody in it.
Yeah, you're just using the refit service, so it just needs to be in space.
And it's instant, unlike the mobile depot.
Yeah, that's the big bonus. You don't have to fuck about with it as much. You should still carry mobile depots, but the Nest is good.
Transport ships with cap boosters.
Yeah. So I've actually got not on the ship. I'll cover that when we get to Titans because that is a lot more important with Titans. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff you should carry in your ship maintenance bay. Bit bad. I don't. Haven't used it, but yeah. So Super's big ass carriers is the general takeaway from this with bigger fighters. If anybody wants to recap on any of this, by the way, I will endeavour to get. Just double checking there's nothing. Wait, don't look like it. Okie doke. So we're going to cover dreads. I don't have a dreadnought here because pilots are in the other ships. But I can show you on my avatar. Because it's pretty much a giant dreadnought. So dreads. These little things. They're basically mini titans without the Doomsday, or giant marauders, whichever way you want to look at it. Yeah, so somebody, real quick on the Nesta, somebody said basically it's an expensive mobile depot, but if you're flying a so dreadnoughts, they're basically mini titans, or as I said, giant marauders. They can have 3 capital guns. So if I bring up the fitting for this, have the fit here. But yeah, you'd have 3 capital guns. You'd have your siege, which is the important thing of a dreadnought. Much like with a marauder, it sieges, and that siege will pretty much beef up your ship. Make it rep better. It will tank better. There you go. Woohoo! There's a fit. Yeah, the siege will make it rep better, it'll make it tank better, and it'll make it kill better. If I turn this off, let's open up all the information for it. So with siege off, targeting is down, but damage is the big thing it changes. So, only 271 DPS with siege off. You turn on the siege. Oof, 2000. Off. This don't go up actually. But when you're siege, you can't move, you can't jump, you're basically sitting still like a donkey. So the important thing with dreadnoughts is when you're on a cap fleet, you listen to the FC, same with faxes, you siege green and you siege red when you're told. So if you jump in and the FC says siege green, that means you press this button. And if he hasn't said siege red, you don't press that again. The FC may say siege green 1 cycle, in which case you will press it off.
So keep auto repeat on.
Yes. Other important things about dreads, there's 2 different fits. Essentially, you've got the buffer fit, which is what this one that I'm showing is. Buffer basically means it's full tank. It doesn't wrap itself. It sits there, gets shot. This is what you'd use in a dread bomb, actually. This pretty much. And it has 3 different types of guns. So each race has their own guns, as you probably all know by now. You know, Gallente, which if you're flying a Gallente Dread, has the like siege blasters for the short range guns, the anti-capital short range guns, that is, which are like the ones that are on here, which are the Minmatar short range ones, which are repeating cannons. These repeating cannons, for instance, will go out to about 100 kilometers fall off. But generally, these are meant for face fucking. The short range ones. So if you're dropping at 0 on something, you want these guns and you will stuff up. But they've all got different ones. So the Phoenix has the torpedoes, and the Revelation has the pulses. Then you've got long range guns, which are the artillery, the cruise missiles, the railguns, and the beam lasers. Same principle, except if you're really far away, you will punch somebody in the face with those things. The artillery, especially, will fuck something's day up. Even if it's a subcap fleet and you're sitting like 150, 200 kilometers off it, and the idiot's burning towards you, you're just going to pop them. Hilarious. And the other type of guns that Dreadnoughts can fit, which I'm very sad that you can't fit them on a Titan anymore, the high angle. Now, these will be asked by the FC in a cap fleet for you to change to. You should always have all your guns with you until the FC says leave your guns. All the words ensure and undock. That's generally a smart idea to leave your guns behind. Because each set of guns is like 600. Always have all the sets of guns on. So, high angle, they're for shooting subcaps. Same principle as the bigger ones, except they're things like rapid torpedoes and 800mm repeating cannons, mega pulse lasers, not the Giga, and the neutron blasters. As I said, for shooting subcaps, they will rip the ever-living shit out of a subcap. On pop. Even better on a Titan, but you can't do it. The other fit, which I don't have here, but it's basically active rep. It's called the it's called the active fit. So you rep yourself. You have, like, for instance, this would have a shield booster, and that's for when you're fighting subcaps. This is for fighting capitals, essentially. Active rep is for when you're fighting subcaps. That's generally what you'll take on a subcap fleet. Or if you're doing home defense a lot of the time. And those can literally sit there and laugh at a subcap fleet while they... So yeah, Dreadnoughts are basically giant battleships. The long and short. You can fly a battleship, you know how to fly a Dreadnought. Especially if you fly a Marauder, you press button, you sit there, you shoot, That is the crux of it. Easiest thing in the world, just this. Any questions? Oh, big thing. The siege module requires Straunt. Always have Straunt. Have loads of Straunt. You don't know if the fight you're going to is going to be 10 minutes or 10 hours. If you're in a fight that's lasting 10 hours in a Dreadnought and you are still alive, teach me your hacks.
Mass edition.
Oh yeah. Not that it matters overly because you're not moving anywhere. But when you're sieged, it pretty much makes you a fat boy. As you can see here, your mass is like tenfold. Well, it is exactly 10 times the mass. That also means that you will bump like a bitch. And you can't move. So if you bump when you're in siege, you're going to go flying away. You could easily end up 400 kilometers off. So be mindful of that before you siege. Jump in. Make sure you're not bumping anywhere. Make sure everything's settled after the jump in, then you siege. The other cool thing you could do is if you siege when moving, you will continue to just slowly float in that direction. Say you're attacking a pos, you can start burning towards the pos, smash the siege button, and slowly float into your optimal range. Yes. Kind of. So, if you were to jump in at 0 on Summit, hit siege, you are going to ping that thing off. That capital ship that you've jumped in at 0 on will go flying. So will you. Big thing is the one that you jumped in at 0 on has its engines on it. But yes, a siege dread or siege fax will send stuff flying away. It's quite entertaining to watch when an entire dread fleet just like sieges the second they jump in, and then they realise what they've done and they go pinging. Alrighty, any questions about dreads? Yeah, The grid we're on is a damn good example of pumping like a bitch. Alrighty, Titans. They're giant dreadnoughts, is the long and short of it, except they don't have a siege. They are basically jump in and, well, do. So, we'll cover guns first. They've got the same guns as a dreadnought, other than they don't have high angle guns, but they shoot a lot further. So, blink. Let's put them on. So, a good example, long range ammo on the longest range guns an Avatar can have will shoot 300 kilometers. That is the lock range of a Titan. Every Titan can lock to 300. Some Titans, like the Ragnarok, which I don't have mine here at the moment, can shoot further than it can lock, which is kind of funny. But it is impossible to lock with a Titan further than 300 kilometers. But the guns is as same principle as the dreadnoughts, the same guns. No big thing there. Alrighty, wow, my tank on this is. Okie dokie. So, something was mentioned earlier when we were talking about supers is these things. These are actually T1. I have 2 deep. Whichever one has the fleet hand. So, the principle behind all these hoarders is when it wants to launch is they carry cap boosters, spare fuel, spare Strom, because you need Strom, all that jazz. And if they're the T1 version, you literally just dump it out, you shoot it. If I can hit it, which I can't with these guns, but generally you kill it. If I wasn't moving, I'd hit it. And you pick up the stuff it drops. As I said, in my Ragnarok, I use the T2 versions. So I can just dump it out, open the fleet hand, grab the stuff out. But that's for things like cap boosters, fuel, because if you run out of cap boosters in a Titan, you are dead, no matter if you... Because you can't doomsday. Yeah, as said in Fleet Chat, if you use DSTs, you don't need to blow them up, but they're a lot more expensive. You don't need to blow them up, so you don't need to replace them. Guaranteed to get everything that's in it. So, as guys way ahead of me, the big thing about a Titan is the Doomsday. So, the main Doomsday you will hear about is the targeted anti-capital Doomsday. They all have cool names, as you can see for each chat here. So, and they're different races, they do different damage types. Generally, they do the damage type that will most screw over that race's law enemy. So, the Amarr one will do EM damage, which is Caldari's hull normally. Caldari one will do...
Caldari does kinetic.
Thank you. That's what I was thinking of. I don't buy the Viven. Yeah, Caldari does kinetic, and Minmatar will do explosive and so on. No, it'll do thermal and then the. You get what I mean. It does the opposite. Yeah. So, a Doomsday, when you fire it, a capital ship. It looks dope as fuck, as you can see here. And that capital ship dies. Meant to. Depending on their tank and your skills. That capital ship will die, though. It depends. It will do 1.4 million EHP in that type of damage. So I just fired an EM Doomsday at a ship that has quite a good EM tank. That's why I didn't kill it. If I fired it at one of the races that didn't tank good to EM, it will do more damage. It's the long and short. So, if I fired it at a Caldari ship, it would do. The important thing is you've got to think about what ships to fire at because they will plug the hole. He's about to fire me with fire Doomsday. Or at that
Sorry,
pass.
Mr. Apostle.
So, you may be thinking, but Caldari in law isn't against but once you fit a ship, you've changed what the lowest resist is, pretty much. Much like when you're fighting hacks, you fire Scourge at Minmatar ships. Now, the other types of Doomsday, I only have 2 of them on me. You've got the Lance, which is really cool. And if one of the Titans wants to fit a Lance and show it off, go for it. They all have different names. Like, kind of cringy names. So, the Amarr one is Holy Destiny, for instance. And this is basically what you see a Titan doing when it fires the, tongue of... This Leviathan's going to show. Same with the main Doomsday. They all do different damage types. Axe is about to eat shit. So, as you can see here, this will spool up. If you're in this beam, it will nuke you out. And 3, 2, 1... Boom. If you're in that, you are essentially dead. They aim exactly like the burst projectile on a super. So you click and then click again. Direction you want to go, but you can see an outline of the beam when you... Same with the boson, that's like the cone of death that I'm sure everybody, if you've been playing the game for a bit, remembers. If I could actually fire it now, I could probably wipe out these 2 faxes with it. But boson or BFG. As I said, is a cone of death. Used to be used mainly for subcaps because you can literally sit on a gate, they land, you've killed them. But it's also highly effective against capitals. And enough of them will wipe out a super fleet. We tried it, it failed because of CCP. Then there's other ones. I don't have one on me, but there's the GCFO, which will teleport subcaps, fighters, and drones to a random point in the system, which is hilarious. I've just been misshowing stuff. It's just my computer being dumb. Oh, the Reaper. So the Reaper is like the Lance, except it moves from side to side. It's a bit meh. Gonna be honest. It takes, say, an FC being really dumb with their fleet to actually be able to nail.
Phenom.
I'm going to get onto that. And the final kind of super weapon that Titans have, as Guy just reminded me, is the Phenom Generator. This is like the mother of all boosts. Each one does different things. Each race has their own one. As with before, each one is designed to counter the hostile default like resistance ability. So Mar1 will slow ships down, will screw its capacitor recharge, will remove its EM resistance, but it will also boost kinetic damage resistance. So it gives positives, and this will give it to everybody on grid. So we've got one going off at the moment, which I think this is the Caldari one.
Yep.
As you can see here, I've got a bonus to shield EHP, a bonus to EM resistance, but a negative to kinetic resistance and no armor repair. And that will apply to anyone on grid. It does not matter how far away you are, these will apply. I say it doesn't matter. 20,000 kilometers, which is the grid, essentially. More than 20,000 kilometers. Now, these can be great. They cannot stack. So if you fired 2 Caldari Phenoms, you would still have the same bonus. It's basically like boosts. These are great for different things. So when we used to have Boltecs, we used to, especially during the Howl, we'd fire off a Galante Phenom from an Erebus before we warped off the Keepstar. That would then give us more armor HP, more explosive resistance, so on and so forth, and benefit our fleet, give us an advantage. But if you're in a Titan fight, you want to have all of them on your side, because if you don't have one and the enemy... You see what I mean? It's better to have all of them going than have one missing.
Anyone want to see a Phenom? Not a Phenom, a Boson?
I'm about to do that, actually. Hold on. Should have really bought my Dragonaut. Checked this fit first. Okay, Boson firing. Just to show you what it looks like. Also, I want to see if it'll kill the fax. Shield is eating the damage. But as you can see, it's done quite a bit of damage to that fax. So, yeah, that's really all the special bonuses, like special things for Titans. They're basically giant battleships. Better boosts. Some of the faction Titans have different things. So the Moloch's got a Corpse Bay, which is kind of fun. And the Moto can use fighters. I will mention the bridge. Titans can bridge. If you don't know that, and you're in a capital ship, where you been? Jump port generator. Everybody knows how this works. Right click, jump through. Everybody's done it. I think explaining how a bridge works is like... The big thing though is it takes Strawn. Always have Strawn in your Titan because it takes Strawn to open a bridge.
Can a Titan do the conduit thingy that Rocks and Black Ops can?
And I would never fucking do it even if it could.
Yeah, I mean, that would be the answer. I wonder if they could do it.
And unless the Titan fleet was coming with, I would not conjure it with a fucking Titan. Titan pilots, please, for the love of God, bridge off your capacitor. It sounds counterintuitive, but if you bridge off your watch list, jump to and bridge are right next to each other. Bridge off the capacitor. Jump off the watch list. That is how I have accidentally jumped to the Cyno happens. Because when it's on a watch list, the two things are right next to each other. on Capacitor, Jump 2 is here, and Bridge 2 is like... Alrighty, I'll quickly run over Faxes. It's like a giant Logi ship. It's basically a Dreadnought, but for Logi. It has drones. Faxes can actually do a lot of damage with their drones. If they have combat drones, they do quite a nice amount of damage. Or they have rep drones, but basically it's the same principle. Siege when you're told. When you siege, your repping ability for repping your friendlies and repping yourself is bonused. But yeah, the big thing is only siege.
And then what's the primary difference between active and buffer for faxes?
Active goes on a subcap fleet and buffer goes in a capital fleet. So, for instance, at the moment, if you're doing Beehive, and you get sent in to deal with a Kiki fleet, do you want, pop quiz, do you want an active or buffer fax?
Active, then.
Get sent to deal with a dread bomb, do you want an active or a buffer fax?
Buffer. And then typically, do we use more actives then for home defense and stuff?
Yeah, kind of. Actives will go with battleship fleets or Eagle fleets as well. And Ferox fleets. But an active fax can tank for fucking ever if it's got enough cap boosters. They are tanky boys. Especially a Lif. Lifs are fucking expensive but really tanky. One thing you should never do, probably will never see, is an active tanked Super or Titan. Please never try doing that. You're not going to rep enough. We've been going for ages, so I'm going to finish this off with a note about Roracles. So, a Roracle. We all know they're brilliant at mining. What else are they very, very good at?
Crab bees.
Fighting. Now, I mentioned this because the other day we had about a week ago, we had a Valve 911 ping. But a Roracle that was tackled by 10 cruisers. You know what my response was?
Just kill them.
They're on the gate, siege up, drop drones, and kill them. You get an obscene bonus to your drones if you're in siege. So if you're getting attacked by 10 cruisers on the gate, first of all, why are you on a gate? Second of all, siege up, drop drones, kill them. Same with if you're in an anomaly. If one hostile jumps in, don't immediately freak the fuck out. You can pretty much survive anything up to like 20 cruisers. Depending on what the cruisers are. I mean, if they're 20 bloody Vedmax, maybe. But the biggest thing is Roracles do a lot of damage. Please think, can I kill it? If you're not holding your tank, you press your panic, then, yeah. But, there's a lot of people lately that, like, tackled by 5 cruisers and go, oh my god. Is it worth sending a 200-man fleet to save you from 5 cruisers?
No. You have to ask you to die quietly. Unless they're alliance ship cruisers. In which case, yeah, give content.
Oh, yeah, but I'm not going to save you at that point. Yes, Roracles can be amazing fighting ships. They can also be amazing boosting ships and amazing tackling ships. When my Vendetta died in M2, I was mainly tackled by fucking Roracles. So yeah, that's my final note on it. Any questions? Concerns? Queries? Qualms?
I just love the amount of red on the watch list right now where people have just been testing things against each other.
What was that last missile thing that you sent out? What was that?
Oh, from the Leviathan, that's a Doomsday. That so each Titan has its own unique Doomsday. Can somebody get me a... Oh, I'll just move myself up. I'll be... Guy, you... God, how are you still here? Get Sino.
Nope.
Right, so Titans have their own unique Doomsdays, with the exception of the Airbus and the Avatar because they suck dick. They're down. So
they're just different colours.
Yeah, with Super Caps and Titans, the best advice if you're looking to get into one is get the one that you. Don't get the one that people are going, Herder, this is the best. That's their opinion. For instance, I got the Howl and the Ragnarok because Minmatar is. You just see if the sun is.
I like the Avatar because it's got that mouse, like I like to call it, which opens and closes when it walks, which looks really cool.
Yeah, so give me 10 seconds if we. For those that don't know the. I don't suppose anyone's got a Sino beacon in there.
Actually, yeah.
Can you deploy it?
Ugh, stack.
Did it try and deploy all?
Yeah,
They really need to fix it.
Nice.
also nice inhib.
Oh, so that's an inhib, not a fucking generator.
I've got a beacon in my ship. All right, beacon's deployed.
Fucking piece of shit.
Have fun, Dave.
I can't see the beacon because Norbert, you've just destroyed the beacon. Can we destroy that inhib, please? Everybody destroy the sodding inhib.
I got it.
I was going to get you a fucking Christmas present, you dickhead. You're not getting one
Oh, I
anymore.
love you. Antari, are you ready?
You want to doomsday me?
Have a pretty light show.
Oh, that looks so pretty.
So yeah, on the note of what to get, as I said before, you should always get the one that you want. There are benefits to having certain things. So the Leviathan and the Ragnarok actually tend to live longer. So does the Avatar because nobody ever shoots an Avatar. The Leviathan and Ragnarok in a Titan fight, this is, folks. Ragnarok and Leviathan live long. The Airbus is the least tanky of all the Titans. It generally dies. It's normally the one that you would target with Doomsdays in a Titan fight. It's just how it is. The Leviathan, as I said, is the tankiest. You don't shoot Leviathans unless you have some special reason to. And the Avatar, everybody's EM tanked now. Avatars tanked against it.
FC, quick question. So, for example, I've been roughing people up as we've been shooting each other, and I'm almost out of captors. How would I get the captors out of the horde? Just jettison board or shoot it?
Jettison the horde and shoot it.
Okay.
So, on the note of different Doomsdays, oh, that is not the right. This is more just off-topic stuff to do with. For those that don't know, different Doomsdays, you've seen the Leviathan one going. Got the Avatar. The Erebus does the same thing, but it's blue, and it doesn't have the cool new skin. It's just a giant bzzzt, bugs out. Then if I switch over to here, you have to kind of zoom in for this one. So you got the Ragnarok, which will fire a cannon volley from the side, because you can barely. If we look over here, boom, 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 good night.
Yeet.
Another cool thing about the Ragnarok is it can be armor tanked, which is really funny when someone's trying to shoot you and they're like, yeah, we're breaking them really easy, but no, you don't. And it can go really, really fucking quick. It can warp quicker than an interceptor. But anyway, that's really all I had planned. Any questions, concerns, notes? Always have your implants. Is a good note.
So mid-grade's still the way to go for a Thanatos.
Red amulets without the Omega will get.
So as long as you have all of them plugged in, you should be good.
Yeah.
Okay.
As I said, they will get SLP. Supers, Titans, you shouldn't even ever undock your Super and Titan without the implants. Like, even if you can sit on tether, have the implants, accidents happen, you may get warped off, you may end up accidentally warped. Last thing you want is to have like half your EHP because you don't have your implants.
Does it count if they're in my cargo hold?
We're gonna laugh at you even fucking more if you do that.
Nice one.
One last type of fighter that we didn't discuss, and I didn't have any on me, is Shadows. They are obscenely expensive. I have a set, but that's because I have a faction super. That's generally the only time you use them. They're anti-capital fighters. They're the same as normal ones, except instead of torpedo volleys, they have a kamikaze. If you were to use 3 whole sets on a fax, it would die instantly. If you have like 4 supers worth, you will nuke a Titan. They are nuts. As I said, they are obscenely expensive. One flight is like 4 billion ISK.
Have my learning pods in this pod, guys. It's funny.
But if you say you're in a faction super and you get dropped, well, you're going to be fucking taking some dreadnoughts with you, aren't you? And that is all for me today. If you have any further questions, feel free to PM me or ask generally in like the Capsule, Super Tits, Fight Club channels. Super Tits doesn't exist anymore. Fight Club and Titans Fall. That's The reason why the bonuses for reps don't work on capitals is because it would be really fucking OP. It's always been like that. Because the capitals that you would generally fit to South Rep are the Faxes and the Oracle and Threads. All the stuff that can siege. The siege already gives you a huge bonus to repping. If you add implants to that, you're never going to die, and that's really, really dumb. Is the long and short of that. Yeah, any more? Any questions, concerns? I'm going to try and do these more regularly and vary what they're doing. So I'm going to have this one on YouTube for people. We've the two, then we'll do more in-depth things. We'll do some fighting or something in future ones. So I've been waffling for fucking ages. I'm tired of hearing myself speak. So thanks for coming. Oh, well, that's probably some CCP overlooked. Stepping influence. Yeah, thanks for coming, and I will see you next time. And somebody can doomsday my carrier if they like.
Oh, I just wanted to ask one question about anchoring. Do you anchor at all with the capitals, or you just sit in one place all the time?
Depends. So if you've jumped into a keep star, there's no point anchoring unless the FC wants to move you. Generally, it's jump in and you sit there. You will be told to align out. Specific circumstances, you'll be asked to anchor. For instance, 49 TAC U, I anchored the carrier fleet to move them across the other side of the fort, things like that. Or you'll be told to orbit the FC just to make sure you don't wander off. But other than that, generally you don't anchor. You don't really fly your ship. If you're in a Dreadnought or Titan, you jump in and you shoot. If you're in a super carrier, you fly your fighters. You just watch out for bumps. The big reason is you don't want to be in one big ball, because then a whole load of Titans could appear and post on you and you're dead.
Turkey shoot.
Or Lances, or a Dread Bomb. See. Trust me, I've been Dread Bombed, it's not fun. Alrighty. I will see you guys next time.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you.
Buddy, I would normally do a stream after this, guys, but I have work tomorrow morning,
You
so
want to
thanks
blow
for
up my
coming.
capsule?
I
It's
will
got
see you
learning
next
component.
time.